MAGA men don't make the cut. Sex and money. Do I have your attention yet? So these are the moments when the world makes something very clear, and this is one of them. Today, I'm not here to soothe you. I'm here to activate you. High value women do not wait for permission. We do not wait for things to calm down, because if we don't get involved, things are never going to calm down. And we don't pretend that values are abstract when our bodies, our rights, and our lives are on the line. This episode is about access. Who gets it, who doesn't, and why no access is one of the most powerful tools women have right now. Because here's the truth, no one else will say out loud, but I've got the guts to do it. Who you date is political. Who you sleep with is political. Where you spend your money is political and powerful. So today, we're running a new play. I call it the no access play. And the rule is this simple: MAGA men do not make the cut. Welcome to the High Value Woman's Playbook. I'm your host, Amanda Carroll. I'm a dating and relationship coach, founder of the High Value Woman Playbook, a community of women who want the best for ourselves and each other and our love lives. This is a space for women who believe in standards and being financially independent. We believe in discernment, and we believe that love should feel safe, equal, and aligned, not confusing, controlling, or dangerous. Every episode of this podcast is a play to run in your life to get the life that you want. It's not theory, it's not a rant, it's a play that will change the course of your life. I always say, let's make your future self proud today, okay? So before we get into it, if this podcast gives you clarity about life, it inspires you, makes you feel more courageous, could you do me a favor? I'm so glad you're here. But real quick, this one small thing will make a big difference. Follow the show, subscribe to whatever platform you're listening, leave a rating or a review, all of those things. And even maybe share this episode with a friend who you think would love it, who needs to hear it. It's not necessarily for me. I would love that, but it's for the women who haven't found us yet and need this message. Because every review and subscribe and share, the algorithm picks it up and loves it, and it pushes it out to more people. That's how this very important message spreads. Thank you in advance. All right, let me tell you what you're going to get from this episode, girly, because this is huge. This is not just some kind of commentary today. This is a strategy that we're going to implement. By the end of this episode, you will know how to identify unsafe men early, how to stop wasting emotional, sexual, and financial energy, why silence and both sides are disqualifiers and who gets access to you, how to use your access, money and intimacy strategically, and how to filter men before you ever emotionally invest in them, not after they already do the damage. I'm sick of that, and I would love for you to join me. It is possible. This episode will change how you date, who you date, because it will change who gets access to you. You're the one that holds all the power. And today I want to inspire you to use it. Why? Well, we're recording this today, Monday, January 26th, after another one of those history-making days. On the 24th, another innocent American civilian was killed in Minneapolis, who was a witness, some might call him a protester, to the human atrocities that are happening in the hands of ICE. He was just trying to help a woman who was pushed down, and he was murdered. And this isn't the first time. A week before, a woman was murdered by ICE just for trying to get out of her neighborhood. And it is time for high value women to stop being quiet and being nice, to do something about it. How? What do we do? You're like, Amanda, I'm just like regular mom. So am I. But you have more power than you think. Women are the ones that spend the most money in the United States of America. That's why advertisers, their golden target demo are women 35 to 49. We make all the purchasing decisions. That's power. We also choose what men get access to us. They want the access. And when we start to be very specific on who we allow in and share our bodies and lives with, guess what? They have to rise to the expectations that we set. Men are very simple. They rise to the expectation of behavior that the woman sets in his life. First, it starts with the mother, then it goes to his girlfriend, wife. So the higher the bar we set, the better a man we're going to get. And nobody else is allowed. For a long time, women were told to separate love from politics, to be open-minded, right? We don't have to make this political. It's okay if we're on different sides, to give men the benefit of the doubt. Well, that era is over, because now being a MAGA is not just a political viewpoint. It is a character flaw and immoral. When you're violating human rights and murdering innocent civilians and covering up for pedophiles. A man of integrity and character does not vote for a sexual abuser and committed felon. If a man supports policies, movements, or leaders that strip bodily autonomy, normalize state violence, or dismiss human rights, this is not just a difference of opinion that should be respected. This is a character reveal. Tolerating racism is racism. Tolerating bigotry is bigotry. Tolerating abuse is abuse. And high value women do not negotiate with character. That's how we end up in abusive relationships. And I know because I've been in them. And I'm humiliated to admit that. Like, here I am, like, I'm founder of the High Value Women's Playbook and an online dating and coaching program and an online community for high value women. But it all started when I was 34 years old and I had been in an abusive marriage, suffering from domestic violence, financial violence, verbal violence. I was called a whore in my own marriage. I didn't cheat. He did. I was restricted financially, no access to the bank accounts. A measly monthly allowance is what I was given as a wife. And I was physically abused, smacked and kicked. But here's the good news. He left. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I'm humiliated and embarrassed to tell you that I didn't leave. Why? Because I had no courage. I grew up Southern Baptist and then turned evangelical, and I was indoctrinated into a patriarchal, high demand religion that taught me purity culture and did a ton of damage. That's why I'm so outspoken against it. The evangelical church is not a safe place for women, especially young women. It glorifies marriage above anything else and subjugates women to just helpmates instead of equal partners. I grew up thinking my best use was to be a wife and a mother. That's what my dream was. There's nothing wrong with it, but the way that they taught it was you weren't a very good person if you didn't have that in your life. So of course, what do I do as soon as possible? I get married right out of college, 23 years old, and realizing that this was my best use. And I put my career to the sidelines so I could support my husband. I was doing what I thought was supposed to do. But do you know, he abused me before the wedding? And I regret to tell you, I didn't call it off because I was too ashamed, because the wedding invitations had already gone out. And I was too ashamed to tell anyone. I thought, well, it's the only one time he slapped me across the face. That will never happen again. Famous last words, right? And I thought, oh, I'm so humiliated. The church can't know. I have to go through. I can fix this. That went on for 12 years. And then again, he left, but it was the best day of my life. I didn't know it at the time. I had a 4-year-old, a 19-month-old, and an 8-week-old baby. And I was working part-time at a Christian radio station. And he just came home one night and said, I'm leaving you. But that was the day of my resurgence. That was the day that created what you're listening to right now, the High Value Woman's Playbook. I'm on a mission to make sure that no woman ends up being left by her husband for another man or another woman with no access to money, no full-time job, and no hope ever again. This episode is going to help you know the warning signs of an abusive man, avoid them early, and choose wisely a healthy partner. And I share that personal story just to let you know that this is how I know what to do. I'm your cautionary tale. I am on a mission to help women make the most important decision of their life, which is who they decide to spend their life with. So we're going to do a really good job, right? So thank you for listening to that. I really appreciate being able to be open and vulnerable with such an amazing group of women. So how do we do this? Let's talk about this, the power that you hold right now. How do you prevent yourself from being abused and abandoned and from dating low value men that aren't going to respect you? First, I need you to know how much power you have. Real power. It's not about shouting. It's not about arguing. It's not about explaining yourself anymore. I want you to realize that you have 3 forms of leverage to get any man to do exactly what you want: sex, money, and access. New rules. We do not give our bodies to men who do not protect our bodily autonomy. Deal? We do not give emotional labor to men who minimize harm to innocent human beings. We do not give our money to systems or businesses or trainers that profit from dehumanization and seem to not have a problem with pedophilia. This isn't about punishment. This is about discernment. High value women, we don't protest with chaos. We protest with our standards. Are you following me here? We don't give access to men who do not support a woman's right to an abortion. We do not give access to men to our bodies when they don't support our equal right to vote. Have you heard about the bullshit about people talking about repealing the 19th Amendment? We do not give emotionally support or access to men who think it's just fine to abuse immigrants and the citizens that protect them. Because a man who thinks it's okay to control a woman's body and abuse innocent human beings, no matter what color their skin is, those men will abuse you, guaranteed. Think about it. You think it's, if they don't see value in human life and other human lives, they're not going to see the value in yours. Okay, let me take a quick break here. Maybe if you're listening right now and you're thinking, oh my God, that's who I'm with. Leave. End the relationship. Because I know, I wish I would have done it the first time he slapped me across the face. Instead, I endured 12 years of abuse because of shame and embarrassment and religious abuse. I promise you, it's not going to get any better. And he's not going to change. But the good news is that you can, and you can get better. Now my story, some of you know it. I healed, became a nationally syndicated radio host after he left, bought my own home in California, and now I'm remarried to an incredible equal partner who's not at all a MAGA, respects my autonomy, respects me as an equal in our marriage, and is very much a big part of this business and a supporter. You can have that kind of relationship too. You deserve it. I want that for you. The patriarchal relationship, according to research, my friend Sheila Gregoire with Bare Marriage, B-A-R-E Marriage, look her up, great podcast. She did the research and she found that in patriarchal relationships, it has the lowest quality of happiness for women. The one the church teaches, the church doesn't tell you that. It also has the biggest orgasm gap. Men in patriarchal relationships are controllers, users, and abusers. The egalitarian relationship Sheila found, where both partners bring money to the table, and they both are equal, making decisions together. There's not a helpmate. There's not a leader. We're leading the family together. Has the highest level of happiness for women. And I like this part, the lowest orgasm gap, because that's hot, equal partnership. This is what you want. And this is what this episode is going to help you find. So let's start here. How do we spot a healthy man without debating on politics? Okay. You don't need to interrogate a man. Let's say you're on a dating app. Okay. And you definitely don't want to date a MAGA. Absolutely not. High likelihood of abuse if they believe that. So how do we vet them? How do we make sure that we don't end up sitting across the table or had a happy hour with a MAGA man in a dangerous situation? I want you to do a couple things. As you're talking to him, if he didn't already say it in the dating profile, I love it when they say who they are. That's great. It's like an instant left swipe, right? Like, nope, no thanks. If they don't say it, we have to start observing it without igniting him. So I want you to pay attention to how he talks about a few things, maybe in the DMs and the text message on your first FaceTime call before you go out on a date. By the way, always do a FaceTime call before you go out on a first date with someone. So make sure, is he really rude about his ex? Does he complain about her? Ask him, what do you think about the way the world's going right now? You didn't say what you think, but you waited for him. How he answers is key without you ever revealing what you think. Because a low value MAGA man who wants access to your body will say anything to agree with you. So don't you dare show your hand that you don't want to date a MAGA man. You ask to see what's revealed. And you ask, Wow, crazy weekend. What do you think about all this? See what he says. Pay attention to how he talks about marginalized groups, immigrants, anyone that's of a different race than he is. What does he say about them? Is he honoring them or is he making fun of them? Pay attention to how he talks about protesters. Is he respectful of them or does he think they're the problem? Pay attention to how he speaks of immigrants. Does he honor them and their path to become citizens? Or is he convinced that they're taking his jobs? By the way, if that's it, the dude's poor and probably is unemployed. So absolutely run from that. Pay attention to how he speaks about violence committed by other men. Is he appalled by it or is he making excuses for it? Or is he just dismissing it and changing the topic? Dismissal right now in this current environment is data for you. Very important data. I even say any influencer or person that you follow right now that is avoiding talking about this issue should be an instant unfollow. Do not listen to them because they're chicken shits. Sorry, but they are. If you are not coming out to defend democracy, American freedoms, and the rights of Americans and human beings and innocent immigrants, then you are a piece of trash. If you're not coming out and saying anything about it, then you're part of it. The silence is a confession. Mockery is data. If he makes fun of people, anyone other than himself, making fun of himself is actually a good sign. It's humility. But making fun of other people, that's important data for you. That shows that guess what? He will make fun of you and hurt you in a relationship. Run the minute he mocks anyone, especially you. Silence is data. Again, if he's dismissing, if he's not sharing how he feels, then he's covert and he doesn't want you to know that that's how he feels. Silence is confession. But here's the good news. A healthy man does not need the convincing that harm is real. He does not argue, I see both sides of human rights. And he does not get defensive when empathy is required. This is exactly why I created a new mini course. I created it over the weekend, right after a shooting happened. And I just figured, like, what do I do? I don't know. How do I use my skills to help this situation? I wish I was a lawyer right now, but I'm not. But I do know how to spot unhealthy men and how to spot healthy men. That's what I became an expert on after my divorce and after my ex-husband left me. I said, this is never going to happen to me again. So I studied. I went to trauma counseling. I became certified in trauma counseling myself so that I could then teach how to spot this. So I want you to know that I know what I'm talking about. I want you to trust me this. So I put it all together for you. I'm not going to gatekeep this stuff anymore. It used to be only reserved for my one-on-one clients in my VIP coaching program, but I want everybody to get access to this. So I filmed a new mini course. It's called The 4 Keys to a Healthy Man. It's the 4 questions, the 4 things I want you to look for to see if he is healthy, the 4 questions to ask as you're starting to date someone to see if they have these 4 keys. And if they don't have the 4 keys, they don't get access to you. Because guessing costs women's lives. It costs you wasted months with the wrong one, sometimes years, sometimes lifetime of recovering from abuse. You know, I've done a lot of work, a lot of EMDR therapy to overcome the abuse that I suffered in the hands of my ex-husband, but I still get triggered when I hear his voice, when I had to sit next to him recently at the hospital when our son broke his collarbone and needed surgery. And I was so uncomfortable. It took me 2 days to recover from that. Abuse is not easy to heal from. And I'm here to help you spot a healthy man so you never have to heal from abuse. So please get access to this. Inside this mini course, the link is in the show notes for you to watch it instantly. I'm going to teach you how to quickly identify who is safe, who has empathy, who respects equality, who's aligned with your future without arguing, without debating, without having to explain yourself. He's not even going to know what you're doing. Okay. It is that good and that savvy. For you, it is 50% off. It's only $48. This new course, 4 Keys to a Healthy Man. The link to watch it instantly is in the show notes. In addition, you get a free one-on-one dating strategy call with me, a free dating profile review with me. You get a spreadsheet to track the men that you're talking to. And if they have the 4 keys, you get a workbook with it, everything you need to make sure that you never end up accidentally on a date with a MAGA and you protect yourself from abuse. It's not about changing men or fighting with men at all. You're not going to do that. You're going to observe and then politely walk away because I don't want you to trigger an unhealthy MAGA man. This is about you, women, having the tools and the knowledge to choose better on purpose. And the great thing about learning these things, like in this episode and in this mini course, is you're going to feel so much more confident in dating. Imagine knowing you've got the keys. You have the secret list that you can ask. He's never going to know what you're doing. He doesn't know you're vetting him with these questions. And you're going to feel so strong and in control of who gets access to you that you're going to have even more guts to go find the love of your life. Because I know you want one. I know I was a woman that was always saying, I don't need a man for a long time. But secretly every night I was like, God, I wish I had a man to cuddle with. And this is going to make you feel like you are fully equipped to make all the decisions you need. And you can heal your picker and never, ever pick the wrong one again. All right, check it out. 4 keys to a healthy partner, 50% off for you. The link is in the show notes. Just use the coupon code KEYS. So here's why silence about this topic on your social media with your friends is no longer an option, about why high value women do not date MAGAs. I need you to spread the word to your friends, your coworkers, your daughters, your granddaughters, because silence has always benefited people in power. They want us to be scared and silent. Silence also benefits the people in power in relationships and in systems at work. If you've ever stayed quiet to keep the peace in a relationship, I did, you already know how dangerous that becomes, especially at work. I stayed silent about abuse when I worked for a Christian radio station, and men would regularly talk about my body. And there was window washers outside one time. And my co-host at the Fish in Sacramento said, when I was like, do you think they can see? And he goes, I don't know, Amanda, why don't you flash them? I should have told people. A boss at K-Love said, when I was wearing Miss Me jeans with embezzle, or they had like those, what is it when you decorate it with charms, the back of the jeans? It was in for a while. They were crosses. And I worked for a Christian radio station. I was doing an appearance in Nashville. And my boss said, I don't know if I should praise Jesus or look at your ass. And I was forced to go change. And then 2 days later, I was fired. And I never said anything until now because I was scared of never being picked to work in radio again. Now I never want to work in radio again. Let's stop being silent. My silence made it harder for the next woman in my shoes. And I don't want to do that anymore. And I even stayed silent in my first marriage, because keeping the peace and just going along with control about money and making whatever food he wanted, I had to give him the calories for every meal that I cooked. And so I just started like making packaged food for him so we could just read the label. Bizarre, right? I know. I can't believe I put up with that. But I just did it to keep the peace. But the danger was I kept being abused. It didn't stop. So we must stop being silent about the atrocities that are happening to everyone in America right now. High value women do not stay silent. We don't argue. What we do is we remove men that are MAGA, businesses that are MAGA do not have access. They don't get to be in our aura. Again, no access to your body, no access to your heart, no access to your financial resources. This is the new rule in your life. You put that into play, then you add my 4 keys to a healthy partner. You vet all men in your life, and you will find a wonderful partner, and you'll be a lot happier and a hell of a lot safer. So how do we run this play so you can feel confident when you're dating that you're not going to end up with a MAGA man? Here's the play. Okay. You stop over-explaining yourself. Well, I feel like this because no, this is what I believe, period. And if you don't, you're welcome to go. Done. I don't spend my money at Target anymore because they got rid of DEI and they allow ICE to come in and kidnap their own employees. You stop hoping men will evolve after you invest in them. Honey, if he told you he doesn't want a committed relationship, he's never going to want a committed relationship, okay? And you stop tolerating misalignment. Like, well, he did vote for Trump, but the sex is really good. Fuck no, we don't do that anymore. You can get great sex from someone that is healthy and is not abusive towards humanity. High value dating is not about being agreeable. okay? We don't have to be nice. This is about being precise and not bending your boundaries and not giving access to MAGA men to your body, your time, or your money. That's going to change the world. That's where the women realize, once we realize this power that we have, which is the biggest power in the world, money and sex, then we get what we want. This is a group effort here. I need you on the same team, okay? Let's leave them broke and sexless. And guess what? They're not going to be MAGA men anymore. They won't argue with your standards. Then they will meet them. Remember, men will rise to the expectations that the woman in their life sets. So set the bar high and do not bend. This is not freaking limbo, okay? We keep it high. If they don't meet it, they're out of your life. The no access play. I hope that gave you kind of a rallying cry today and a little bit of hope. Yes, this is terrible. Yes, it's awful. But you know what's worse? You not doing anything about it. The government is not going to change unless you and I get involved. Call your representatives. Tell them to cut funding to ICE. Tell them to impeach the president and Kristi Noem. And do not allow any man that feels like what is going on in this country is a good thing into your life anymore. And learn the 4 keys so that you feel so confident knowing that you're going to make a great choice and only allow a man that has all 4 keys to a healthy partner who's curious about you. He's humble. He's serving others. He has awareness of trauma and growth and a growth mindset. And he is interested in a committed relationship to you. Run that play. So if this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to share it with someone. Share it with a woman who needs to hear this right now. Share it with your mother, your best friend, your daughter, your granddaughter, and make sure you're following this podcast so you don't miss the next play and the next episode that I want you to run to have the best health, the best wealth, and the best sex of your life. And if you could, again, make sure you're subscribed. Leave a rating or a review. The more ratings I have, the more comments that I have, the more the algorithm likes to push it out, and the more women can get this important message. It matters what you think. Speak up. And if you're done guessing, and if you're done wasting time on low-value MAGA men, and you're ready to run this play, I want you to go grab the 4 keys to a healthy man. It's 50% off for you, my podcast listener. It's $48. You get a full course, you get the full workbook, you get a spreadsheet, and you also get access to my calendar where you can book a free dating strategy call with me. And remember, the goal isn't to change men. They don't change. The goal is to be aware of MAGA men, avoid them, so that we can choose better ones on purpose. Thank you for being a part of the High Value Women's Collective, and thank you for listening to the playbook. Let's go run the play.